Whew, all right. Well, it has been 1 week since that last video. I'm just going to give you a quick update. I thought it was important because I didn't want to keep you hanging too long. Today is day 2 out of 3 days of orientation, but as you can see, I'm in my car. So the place I went to was a place that I had decided was not a fit for me. As you know, when I was going up, I didn't have a good feeling about it. It must have been women's intuition that they get, because they know right away. That was what I had an intuition that I wasn't familiar with. It was so strong. I was like, man, this just seems wrong. And I kept trying to make it work. And it just wasn't working. I mean, I couldn't get around all the issues I had with this company. So I just decided, I went ahead and got on, I found a recruiter that looks at companies, because you can do a lot of research on the major companies, and you can contact them, and there's about 6 to 10 of them that you can talk to directly and get all that. But there's thousands of companies out there. And so I talked to a recruiter that could talk to several companies for me, because I just, I was going into this orientation. I just had to put it on her. And I'm going to tell you this, if you send me a comment if you're looking for a recruiter, because this lady was really helpful. Because I had to talk to her a couple of times, and I said, I don't know. I said, I think if I don't have a job from you by Wednesday, I may just have to leave, and we'll just have to go. But I wanted to get back with a company right away, because I was worried. I don't know if anybody could appreciate this, but I was worried that if I stayed out of the truck too long, I was going to decide not to go back, because it is such a different lifestyle. I didn't want to get too used to being home. And I was even thinking about, well, maybe I'll get a local trucking job or something. But local in Atlanta is tough, because traffic's just no fun. It would take all the fun out of it. And I like traveling. So I was really just like, no, I just need to get a job. And then while I'm with that company, if it's not right, maybe I can look for, a better job. Because job hopping in this industry is pretty popular, apparently. But as I'm learning, this industry is it's very ruthless. But, I still, even though it personally hurt that I was let go from Knight, I still don't hold them responsible. I take full responsibility of that. So this company, I know you're dying to know who it is. Some of you do know, because I've talked to you, but most of you don't. So I'll try not to drag this on too much. But what it was a company that's kind of known for second chances. So some of you who are drivers are going to know exactly who I'm talking about. But I didn't realize I didn't do enough research. And you can never do enough research, because even I researched Knight, and it turned out not to be my cup of tea, because based on what I did. But at the end of the day, do your best on research, but you got to just give it a shot and do your best to make it work. So this company, the second chances they give this company are for like felons, people who are just gotten out of prison. I was in orientation with a guy who's still on paper, and on paper, I didn't know. So he's still on paper. I didn't know what that meant. I had to ask him, because I thought, what are you, a purebred? What does that mean, on paper? I didn't know. And it means he's on probation. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I started looking around, and a lot of these people were former felons or former DUIs, or maybe had several incidences that this company was open to giving them a second chance. And the pay was really not good at all. not industry standard. I'm going to do a separate video on this company because there's a lot of bad video out there on this company, and I was looking at a lot of it on YouTube, which is not always good. Be careful about, my opinion is just about what I think. And you got a lot of people out there, and a lot of the bad videos are basically because they had a bad experience, and maybe it's because, yeah, some of the company was wrong to do what they did, but maybe they did something wrong, but a lot of people don't necessarily volunteer that. So what I'm trying to say is, I went to orientation. I was not feeling it at all. I went the second day. I'm talking to my recruiter, and the company I went with was Western Express. And you know, they're not a terrible company on paper. They're not. They have about 2,500 trucks, so decent size. But in reality, they're not a great company. But you know, for second chance people, they don't have a choice, and they found a good niche, and they don't pay their drivers well, and they're really kind of set up for team driving through training. So the trainers make a lot of money, and the trainees don't. And when they're done, because they only pay about $400 a week for training, and that's kind of average. But you'll be out 2 to 4 weeks, generally 4 weeks with them. And I already went through all that, and I was not looking forward to going through that again. Today I did a backing, what they call 45-degree alley dock, and you got 5 minutes to do it in. You just got to get out and look at least once, and you get 5 pull-ups. So I was able to do it in 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and I pulled up 3 times. They also had another course that was kind of cool. It was called a turning course. Had really tight turns. It was in the yard, so it was fun. I liked that challenge. It was good. So I did fine, and I felt really good about that. And that gave me a little extra confidence, because I hadn't been in the truck since a week ago today. It was a week ago today that I was let go at 1:22 p.m. And so this has been an emotional, exhausting, but I'm excited to say that my recruiter came through. It's cool too, because when I called the company that I agreed to go with, I thought I was going to have to go through an interview process, but they were like, okay, so you're calling just to get information about orientation, right? I'm like, well, yeah, I needed to know a little bit about the company. I didn't know that much about it. It's a smaller company, and I'll share that with you on a different video. I just wanted to catch you up on the fact that Kangaroo Truckers moving forward, thank God. And I'll tell you what, I just feel so relieved to be out of that place. They own their own hotel, and it's about 15 miles, roughly, maybe, away from their training facility in Nashville, Tennessee. And it is not a nice hotel at all. Gotta be the worst hotel I've ever stayed in. It had a very similar feeling to I don't know, kind of like, almost like I don't know, a prison type environment. I'm not sure how to say it. There was no great welcome. There was nothing. It was pretty much, and they have a hard time. And like I say, I'll do a better video on it later, but they're just trying to process these people through, get them in a truck and get going, and move their freight. And they're very tight on their what you can and can't do. And I think that's where a lot of the videos are coming out bad, because if you go off their suggested route, it'll cost you $1 a mile. If you don't use their fuel solution, they will charge you back. So there's a lot of disadvantages if you don't follow their rules. I will say about Knight's pretty liberal about, you drive good, you work with your terminal manager and your driver manager. There's a lot of flexibility. They have a lot of terminals. This place doesn't have that many terminals. The place I'm going to doesn't have any terminals. So, just can't tell you how excited I am just to be done with that place. Oh my God. I felt like I was escaping from jail, It's like, it's just so glad to leave there. Oh my God. I just wasn't right for me. It wasn't. So yeah, I wanted a second chance, but I wasn't needing it like because I was a felon. I mean, I'm sure not everybody that's going there is a felon, but the point is it is a second chance company for really difficult people to. One of the guys that was there had rolled a truck in his other job, and when you roll your truck, that's pretty bad. I mean, that goes on your CSA report, and it's very difficult to get on. So it's good that they do have a second chance company like that for people who still want to drive. But that was not a company for me. I didn't fit in. I didn't hardly talk to anybody. I was not myself normally at all. Oh man, it was an awful experience, but it was a good experience. They did have a good video. They had a guy that you watched your training videos. But I'm going to digress and just say I'm not going there. And I let the recruiting person at that company, I let him know. I sent him an email, just said, decided this is not a good fit for me. I've withdrawn from the orientation, and I will not be accepted employment. And I have checked into their hotel. I mean, their hotel was, it had like one thin pillow, and it had a blanket, like an army blanket, that barely fit on the bed. There were two beds, and one of the beds was up on planks of wood, and the wood was sticking out. And I was just, I mean, they paid for it, so I didn't have to pay for that. But you don't get any pay for orientation. And they wanted to send me up on a bus. I was like, no, thank God I took my vehicle, because I had to pack all the stuff that I was going to take with me and go on the road. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm going to go to a smaller company, and you're going to have to give me a few weeks to get, as soon as I can, I'll get back on and get up to date. But it's a smaller company. It's a much better fit for me. So I'll know that for sure when I'm actually going through orientation. But right after orientation, in 3 days, it's up in Pennsylvania. I'll be doing over the road. I'll be home 2 to 3 weeks. Out 2 to 3 weeks, then I get to go home. I'll be able to bring my truck, park it behind my gym at where my business is, and that's worked well for my brother, who's come in and visited, and a friend of mine who's a truck driver. He's actually parked behind my gym, so I know it's a good place for that, and they were great with that. So when I go out for 2 to 3 weeks, I'll come home, and I think it's going to be harder to get home on a specific day. And I've got a very important super clinic coming up. That's one of the things I'm going to talk to them about, because I'm only going to be able to go out about a week, and then I got to be home. But then after that, I can be more flexible. So I told the person that was hiring me at this company that's what I was going to do, and they said that's fine. You can work it out with your driver associate, they call it. But this company's got 350 trucks. They're Freightliners. Their age is 2017 and newer. They come with Sirius XM. They come with a TV, DirecTV, all included. And Freightliner's a good truck. I know some people that love Freightliners. I trained in a Freightliner, so I'm comfortable with the vehicle. So I think it's going to be a good fit. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. So I'm very relieved to know that I'm able to be back on the road. So I'm gonna rent a car, my own. I'll personally rent a car, one way up there, and then after the 3-day orientation, I'll move into that truck, and I'll be dispatched on next Thursday. So Saturday and Sunday I'm gonna road trip up, and then I'll be in training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Orientation will be done, and then Thursday morning I get a load and I go somewhere. Now I'll be going as far west as Texas, as far north as pretty much east of the Rockies, all the way over, no more further north than Maine. We're still pretty far north. And no further south than Georgia. So that's a good playground for me. I'm fine with that. And it's funny, the places out of Pennsylvania, because if you've been following me, I ain't a big fan of Pennsylvania, the Northeast. So hopefully I'm going to be able to have my driver associate keep me as far out of the Northeast as possible, but I don't know. It's dry van. It's almost 100% drop and hook. There are some live loads and live unloads, but most of it is drop and hook, which is really easy. That's easy work. So the tough part will be simply just driving through the small towns and trying to find places to park, the typical trucking life that goes on. So stay tuned. I will keep you posted, but I'm very, very excited to share this with you. And like I said, I'll let you know the name of the company once I kind of get up and going. And maybe next time you see me, I'll actually be driving in the Freightliner. So we'll talk to you soon. Take care. And real quick, I forgot to mention, Western Express does not pay for orientation. And the other company I'm going to, they're going to pay me $500 for orientation for those 3 days. And that'll be great because that'll help me offset my expenses for the rental car. So that's good news. When I was at Western Express, the hotel was a dual occupancy, and you didn't know who you were going to get as a roommate. The first night, I only brought my duffel bag in because I really was so not into it. I didn't know if I was going to go to the first day of orientation and leave right after that. So I didn't want to have anything at the hotel. So what I didn't realize is it looked like I checked out. So the roommate I had, let's see, his name was Q, I think. And he had been like with 4 companies in the last year or something. So he was actually with Knight at one point. In fact, he was out of the Lakeland office, and he knows one of my friends that's a driver for Knight is got the same dispatcher that this guy had. So anyway, he hit a bunch of stuff, so he had to go, I guess. I don't know. So I checked. I guess it looked like I checked out. So I went back that night, and I went to get in. Some other guy answered the door, and I was like, "Oh, did I get the wrong room?" I'm like, he goes, "No." He said, "There's already 2 people in this room." I go, "Okay, I didn't know that you check out every night, so I guess I got to go down to the front desk." And I had then all of my stuff that I was going to bring into the hotel, so I had to bring it all the way back to the front desk, and then they rechecked me in with another guy. This dude was from Louisiana. He was the one that's on papers, and he's a nice guy, though. I mean, he's one of those guys that deserves a second chance, and nice guy. So he's just he was down and out, and they were given an opportunity, so it's perfect for him. And this company's out of Nashville. Western Express that location is a big flatbed company, so they do training there too. So I'm driving, and they kind of really catered more to the flatbed people. So where I'm going, they're paying for the hotel. It's probably a decent hotel. I'm sure it's not real nice, but at least I get my own room. So it's a single occupancy, so I appreciate that. So that is great. Because the first night when I was in the room with Q, I basically slept with the light on the whole night. I didn't sleep at all. I closed my eyes off and on, but I just was not where I should be. That's all I can say. So stay tuned.